Barbershop conversation, guys. Feel free, hit the subscribe button. So I want to talk about how boxing tricks the fans, and I'm gonna give great examples, and feel free to use your discretion. I'll get to the Earl Spence situation. I'm gonna give you guys tea leaves. I won't give it to you all at one time, but at the end of the day, always follow the money. The money will lead you to your destination. I would say 9 out of 10 times. Nothing's perfect, right? We're all flawed humans, right? But when you sell something, like if you sell your car, right? You want to clean it up, make sure it looks good for the person that wants to buy it. If you sell your home, you want to make sure that the kitchen looks good, that the bathroom looks good, and the main bathroom and the main bedroom looks good, right? Those are what people tend to look for, and right. So we all know that, right? Make it look as good as possible so you can sell it, right? And there's been propaganda going around that HBO is going out of business. HBO is doesn't care about boxing. And be honest with you, I was dictating that narrative too, until about 6, 7, maybe 8 months ago. I literally forgot that I've done business with HBO. But when you do business with a parent company like Time Warner, everything is a subsidy. So for example, let's say I was doing a film on Harold Meets Joe. Make up a movie. That becomes its own business, its own LLC. So you can't sue Time Warner or HBO or something like that, right? And so each movie that you see that comes out, because people die on set, people get really injured when they building these big ensembles. And moving forward, unbeknownst to me, that so I ended up calling them, and I was like, man, can you give me the skinny on what the hell's going on with HBO? And so on and so forth. And as I say, always follow the money. HBO is not going out of business. HBO, what they did was they cut off all the fat, and you guys asked why. HBO is a subsidy of Time Warner, which is basically Warner Media, which merged with AT&T for $85 billion. And at the end of the day, when you sell something, you want to cut off all the fat. You want to cut off everything. So when you present it, maybe they wanted 115 billion. I have no idea. I don't know what they went into the negotiations with, but obviously they didn't go into negotiations wanting just $85 billion, right? That's pretty fair. So all across the board. And then I said, let me really, really look at HBO. This is months ago. No one's been laid off. Production is still the same. And yet, the only thing that they're lacking is someone in boxing that can make them money. Now, I'm under the impression, I don't know this, but this is just me putting the pieces together. As I always say, me being pragmatic, is that they have no one over there that can make them money. Now, I know for a fact HBO wanted Anthony Joshua. I don't know how much the contract was for, but I heard it was a 9-figure deal for Anthony Joshua, but he turned it down. So I don't know how many fights, I don't know how many years, but I know it was a 9-figure. I actually did that video for you guys sometime in February. If you guys want to go back and look at that, I told you guys HBO was in hot pursuit of Anthony Joshua. But so when they say HBO is, I believe the narrative. I'm not gonna lie to you. I did videos on HBO versus Showtime versus HBO. Now it may be true. HBO is being dominated by Showtime, but why? They were selling. Time Warner was selling. And when you're selling something, you don't want no depreciating assets. You want maximum value for your asset. And at the end of the day, they wasn't in position to add on debt to the company. And we don't know how long these negotiations were going on for. I don't think you make an $85 billion deal overnight. I believe it takes years. It takes 20 lawyers. It takes it takes how many mediation hours? 10,000, 20,000 mediation hours. Whether you're doing it with 2 people, 4 people, 10 people, 10,000 phone calls. You understand what I'm saying? Everything got to be itemized. Everything got to be audited. Like, think about that for a second. And when you realize this versus what people were telling the media, and Showtime is supposed to sell it. Oh, HBO don't care. They're supposed to, because they're in competition, right? It's like when the bully goes on vacation for summertime, and the kid at school said, yeah, he didn't want to fight me, so he left. He left. I don't know when he coming back, but he was afraid. He didn't want to fight me. You know, so you got to say those things, right, to stay relevant. And Showtime is winning the battle right now, but it's a long-term war. HBO isn't going anywhere, and you guys gonna be surprised what's gonna happen with HBO in 2 years, from what I'm hearing. You understand what I'm saying? It's going to be a complete paradigm shift. But I don't know that. But that's pure speculation on what I've heard thus far. But that's basically the truth. I'm going to talk about some more propaganda that they feed the fans. And feel free to do your research, too. Feel free to do your research as it relates to HBO and the mass media saying HBO is done. HBO, they're not done. They had to sell. Time Warner had to sell for $85 billion. And I will say this. I'm telling you, I will say this. AT&T would be an above average stock. Would be an above average stock to do your research on. I'm not telling you to invest in it, but they're in the low 30s right now. I would say that would be a good stock. That's a good 18-month stock to invest in. 2-year stock to invest in. Remember this video. All right. Remember, I went 3-0 on giving you guys stocks last year. I would say do your research before you do it. But remember, I gave you Nike. That went up 25%. I gave you Facebook. Shit. When they were going through that turmoil, I told you. I know it was expensive. What, $150 a share, $30 a share, whatever. I forget what it was. I told you guys to invest. When I told you guys to invest in Disney, when Black Panther was coming out, I got it for $100 and something 9 cents. I sold it for $104. So I made 4% just by clicking send. I'm just telling you. I'm not a genius at anything. I just do my research and I value every penny that comes through my hands. I still pick up pennies, nickels, dimes. Buying, for the most part, me buying something over $1,000 is a reward system for me. So, someone just texted me. But anyways, man, I just want you guys to fully understand what's going on with HBO, and yes, Showtime is kicking their tail, but it's not because they were merging and they did the same thing with their hit show. What's the name of their hit show? I've never watched an episode. I've walked by family members watching it, but you guys know that it comes on in the fall. They cut off all the fat, and I guess it seems to be working. But I'm willing to bet in 2 years AT&T would be at least above $32. I'm just going off of that. I believe it. I wouldn't tell you that if I didn't invest my own money. So, but I'm not telling you to invest your money. I'm telling you do your research. You understand what I'm saying? And that's basically it. But anyways, man. And as it relates to like Earl Spence, I just want to give you guys example of how there's a propaganda machine that spills stuff out to the media, and the media runs with it and dictate that narrative repeatedly. And a lot of times the fighters have no clue what's going on. I'm being genuine. The fighters literally have no idea what the hell is going on as it relates to the propaganda machine. But if it benefits them, why wouldn't they go with it? Mike Tyson, the baddest man on the planet. He had a lot of people that wanted to fight him. You understand what I'm saying? And if you do your research on Mike Tyson, and the reason why I know this is because you guys, should I say this? I've worked with Don King. You guys probably know that. I've done articles for the Call and Post. I understand how it works. Don't I've spent hundreds of hours with Don King, with his staff, with his friends, so I have a great understanding of how this stuff works. And I just I know you guys get mad at me and say boxing don't care about the fans, but I'm telling you, I have more information in my head that I find ways to dictate to you. And a lot of times, sometimes, every so often, I put it in a video, and sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes you get it. Just like I gave you the date of the Deontay Wilder fight. I just got off the phone with someone yesterday about planning that trip. You know, I'm talking to the family. I just told her to take her vacation days around that date. So, anyways, man, I'm just giving you guys intel. Feel free to do it what you want. But feel free to dislike me. And like I wish I could tell everything, but that's why I said there's pluses and minuses to having both sides, one leg on each side of the fence. And I understand it. It's fair. But I'm telling you, in life, if you have any doubt what the hell is going on, trace the money. Follow the money, and it will lead you to the source. All right, man. Barbershop. I want to listen to Russ before I'm listening to What They Want by Russ. I want to listen to that shit before I get to the gym. Barbershop Conversations, man. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. Talk to you soon. Peace.